not a part of football. Players were country kids with a lot of energy, and lifting was not required, as a high percentage of players were farm boys and did a lot of work all summer long. First effort at weightlifting involved some borrowed weight sets in a classroom with no set program. Later in the 70s, a fundraiser was held, and the universal unit with 8 stations of set weights was purchased and placed in an unused locker room. Again, with no set program. There were no spaces available because the school was growing. It ended up in some pretty bad places. When Mr. Nemec came, the first thing he did was throw out the weight station unit and build 3 weights, which he had experience with. He established a weight program to follow, and taught the proper use of weights in the many different sets. An upstairs room was used at the weight room. With the building of the new high school, a room was dedicated to weights and a program was established. Many girls now began to begin the weight program, causing a crowded condition. In a bond issue, it was approved to double the size of the weight room and make it one of the improvements to increase the size, and that's where we are today right now. So with no further ado, Mr. Nemec came here in 1986 and established a great program.
It's interesting, you know, we sit in here and we look at this facility now. And when we first started, when I came here in 1986, we had nothing. Like you said, there was a universal gym, and it was stuck in the locker room, back of the locker room, storage room of the locker room. And we captured half of the stage. We're in the old, which is now the middle school, that was at that time the high school. And they had a stage area in the gym and for performances or plays. And we captured half of that. I think our weight room was 17 by 32. Put a couple sets of free weights in. One of the sets I owned, and went out, we fundraised, and we got a little bit of money to put some stuff in there. Now, everything we've ever done from back then to everything that's in this facility right now has always been raised through donations, through working, or through whatever. None of the stuff has been purchased by taxpayer dollars directly through the budget. So we went ahead and put a weight room down there, and we made it work. It wasn't the best, it wasn't ideal. A couple of years after making it work on that room, and I was a big believer in lifting weights. I'd been in Glen City before I came here, had some great teams over there, and no doubt that the success was from the lifting weights. We've done some BFS, bigger, faster, stronger over there for a number of years, and then we came over here and we started doing the same thing. We implemented some BFS, bigger, faster, stronger, but very limited space. And of course, we could never do what they do today with the space we had, with the number of kids we have. A couple years later, probably the early 90s, we took the top half of the gymnasium, which was open, the back half of it, and they poured a concrete floor up there at both ends. The wrestling team, when I got here, used to wrestle in the commons. You'd throw out some mats between the beams, the pillars, and there's the beams, and that's where they wrestled. And then the weightlifting, like I said, was on the back of the stage. Well, we built a nice room up on top of one end of the gym for weightlifting, and on the other side, we put a room up there for wrestling. In the weight room up there, we had probably 7 benches, a couple squat racks, a couple leg presses, some deck machines, things that we really needed to help make the kids better, make the kids better athletes, better students. While we're in there, then probably about 92 or 93, we started weightlifting as a class. We offered it for the kids, and the kids that wanted it was a junior, senior level class, upper level, and the kids could come in and they were set up on programs, and they were independent. It was an independent program. Each kid fit to what they wanted to do. We probably had 15 boys and about 6 or 7 girls. So we had 20-some kids taking it. And that was a half-a-year class. After we left the middle school, I call it middle school, we left the middle school and came up to the high school, we did put a weight room up at the high school. And that's where we're standing right now, but it was about half of this. Now originally the weight room was going to be bigger than what it is, but we ran into, when they went to build the referendum, they passed the referendum, and they put it on hold. They added classrooms on at the middle school, and then they were going to do the high school. Well, when they went to bid out the project for the high school, the costs are going up quite a bit. There were a number of schools being built in the area. River Falls was building, Rice Lake was building, in Cumberland was building, over in North St. Paul we were building. So it's the old supply and demand. There was a lot of demand for work, so the price could be pretty good. So the cost of the building got to be really high, a lot higher than they anticipated. So we had to eliminate stuff, and one of the things that got cut was footage off of the gym, footage off the locker room, footage off the wrestling room, footage off of the weight room. So we made probably 2/3 of what we originally wanted to do. Since that time, they passed a referendum, we made the weight room to where it is now, and I'm sure there'll be some pictures taken in this room later on. And again, keep in mind, all the stuff in here, weightlifting stuff isn't cheap. You can make it cheap, but when you have somebody make it for you in their backyard because they can weld and put pipes together, you gotta remember that you need to have a liability policy with that. So when we buy all these racks and buy all this stuff, there's a lot of liability with it. So the companies that do it, they're able to insure themselves. But everything that's been in here, I think the first year, and Mr. Larson will be up there later, he can correct it, but I think the first year, one time when we stocked this room, was about $38,000. The first year we stocked this weight room. That was half of this, and now since then, and Mr. Larson will explain that, more modern. Mr. Larson is now, he's our BFS technician. He's the one that's really responsible for where the program is right now. Not just in lifting, but also in the character part of it too. He's a lot of stuff, not just having kids with the BFS, and he'll explain all that to you and explain where they are now. But all the stuff, and I think the one from out, what did you put in there?
Totally about $80,000.
Okay, so we had 30-some thousand, and then of course over the years we've always had to replace it. And like I say, nothing has ever come out of the budget, out of athletics, out of the school district budget, it's all been fundraised, it's been donated, we've sold pop, we've picked garbage, we've parked cars, Mr. Larson continues to fundraise on a multiple of things, and that's what helps keep this thing in business. Mr. Larson took over I ran the weightlifting for a few years, he took it over and runs our summer program. Our summer program has upwards of 200 kids, upwards of 200 kids. So without me saying much more, the guy that can really address it now, where we're at today, I'll turn it back to Mr. Rivard and Mr. Larson. And I'm done here. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Nemec. You've done a great job. We really appreciate all the efforts over the years to get such a system that we have today. In 1999, Mr. Larson became the head coach and began working here. He runs a bigger, faster, stronger program. And let's see. The students have bought into the weight program here, and it's really been quite successful over the years. We've seen the results in the athletes, with many athletes achieving great success in our teams and individual sports programs. Many have earned scholarships to college in all divisions of the NCAA. Today we have with us the coach responsible for the program's bigger, faster, stronger, and talk about the room and what it took to get such a place. Mr. Larson.
Thank you. Well, everything in here really was a result of a lot of kids that did a lot of hard work. We did a lot of the fundraising, but it's a kid-driven thing. We picked up a lot of garbage, whatever we had to do. And every time we would get a few funds ahead, we would buy something else to put in here. Right now, what you see now is 11 workout stations, 3 of every auxiliary. We can easily accommodate 65 to 70 kids in here at a time. And if it's done right, it should take kids about 45 minutes in here. In the summer, we like to bring kids in. They'll come in for 45 minutes of lifting, and we do also do 45 minutes of speed development, which has had a huge impact on everything that we've done. The combination of the two have been great. But through the years, we started doing this stuff in really the BFS stuff we started probably back in '91, and then we had our first true BFS clinic in 2001, and from that point on, we've just kind of added and built off of that. But every year we try to update, every year we try to change something or improve something. Along with that, our BFS clinician comes in typically every year. Jeff Stern from Arizona comes in and has a huge impact. And he'll be coming in here again in about a month from now. And each year that really gives us a huge boost and gets us closer to where we need to be. So,
Did BFS recognize your program?
yeah, we've been in the BFS magazine a couple times. Just recently here, the last issue, they did a huge article on what we've done over the years and the success we've had. They've been very good to us.
Can you explain a little bit about the program, what the kids go through to meet their goals?
Yeah, you got to be kind of careful because people look at it as a weightlifting program, which it technically is. But if you look around in this room, we don't have a lot of charts like a top 10 squat or top 10 bench or top. We use weights, and our whole mission is to use weights and use weight training to win more contests, to run faster, to jump higher, to be better athletically. We're not ever going to enter any powerlifting meets or stuff like that. We want to do it to get kids better, whatever sport or activity they want to be good at. And there are a lot of things that are very common. There's common positions. There's common things that every kid goes through. And if you want to see some of them.
Mr. Larson, I have a question about the girls lifting. How do they differ from the boys lifting programs?
There really is not a whole lot of difference. You're going to adjust the amount of weight the person's going to do. But what you really want to go after is hip development. Is what you want to go after. If you're strong through the hips and you can run and jump, that's where you have the biggest impact. And it'd be easier to show you than it would be anything else, and I can show you pretty easily. I would look at it this way. Put your feet down this a little bit. Okay, his back's flat. He's right in the line. Toes are lined. Okay, so you look at this. Put your hands up like this. Could you shoot a basketball? Put your hands up over your head. Could you rebound a basketball? Could you jump up and rebound? Put your arms out. Could you defend somebody? Put your hands like this. Could you tackle somebody? Could you block somebody? Grab this, like this. Could you hit baseball? Take one hand off. Could you play tennis? Come up like this a little bit, grab that. Could you play golf? Could you play hockey? It's an athletic position. And the more you can put somebody in an athletic position, it becomes a default position. When that becomes a default position, that's the position they're strongest in, and it's the position they're most comfortable in, that's how they can perform. And that's what makes them very good at what they do. Our kids spend all their time in the athletic position. And then they're going to push weight from that position. So when you take this, grab that. Okay, spread your chest. Right? Knees aligned, toes aligned. Okay, go straight down. Right there. Okay, you see the Z in the knee here? Straight down the middle, come all the way up, push your hips through. Straight down. Look at this. This thing goes straight down and it comes straight up. Okay, that's his range of motion. Now, if you look at a person, if you're looking at a sprinter, turn your face this way. Take your right leg and go up, knee up, heel, and toe. All right? That's the same position we were just in the squat. This is why sprinters need to squat right here, because you can generate the maximum amount of force on the ground with your knee up, your heel up, and your toe. As he comes down, he slows down, and he'll recycle quickly. Okay? The longer his foot's on the ground, the slower he is. The faster he can recycle, the faster he is. So you want to work on push, exert, and get back up. You don't want a long back kick. He wants that thing to hit and come back up immediately. He doesn't want this. That's long and slow. So you're working for a fast turnout. And there's a couple of things we do for that. Now, the last phase of the run is to push on the shoulder. Just push off. Okay, just one leg at a time, push up on the right foot, step into it, yeah. Okay, when you run, that's that push right there, okay? So if you look at this, the clean. Okay, that one right there, go up to, just come up on your toes. That's that push right there, except for you're now doing it with resistance, okay? When you remove the resistance, he still pushes, but it pushes it more explosively and faster. And that's also how you're going to jump. So when you look at, go back into your squat. Okay, now come halfway up. Stop, and you have that. Grab that. Go ahead and do a clean. Okay, now come down to the side, go down all the way. Grab right here. And you should have two of these, put your hand just like that. No, one on the other side, just like you have one you don't. Now stand up. That's your deadlift. Okay? Every time you're doing that stuff, you're strengthening right through here. Okay? And then what you do to fortify that, to back it up, come on over here. We'll have to move here just for a second.
Just better stop it.
Okay, to back up what you're saying, you want to now take this and several muscles right through here you really need to develop that used to be developed in manual labor, but no longer exists. But what you want to do is he's going to bring his legs up and he's going to hold right there. And that's all how he wants to go. If you look at it right now, he is fully flexed. I mean, this thing is hard as a rock. Okay? He's fully flexed all the way through. Now he's going to come down nice and easy under control. Okay, and the reason I put this PVC pipe here is I don't want him to go too high. Come on again, and control, stop, hold, and now go down. Okay, and you can see what that's doing to every one of the hamstring, muscle fibers, the lower back, and the glutes. Okay, well that's where all your speed comes from. And the more you work on this stuff, the faster you get. And the one thing we've been able to do, go ahead and come out of there. The one thing we've been able to do consistently through the weight workout is get faster. And the faster you get, the more difficult people are going to have, more difficult people are going to have defending you. And no matter what you do, there's nothing that replaces speed. Speed's the most dominant factor in athletic performance, more so than size or anything else along those lines. If you can run, you have a huge advantage. And everything we do in here is built to enhance our ability to run and jump. We can run faster, we can jump higher, we have a very good chance of being successful. And this is a big part of that. If you look at most of the stuff we do in here, the center's more around hip development than anything else. It's not your typical weight room. Most people think, well, weight room people come out and our kids still get good size, they get very strong, but they're extremely explosive to the hips, which is what makes a huge difference.
Introduce him.
This is Alec Merritt. He's a sophomore. We've been working on now for what, 3 years? And made some major changes. You know, he's halfway home. He's got 3 years left, 2.5. When it's all said and done, you'll see a big difference, and you'll see he'll be one of those guys that's going to have a big impact for us because he's worked hard at this stuff and understands what he needs to do and why it needs to be done that way. That's the benefit we get out of this stuff. This really, I look at it this way, and I tell people this all the time. The weight room is kind of like our science lab. You know, in science, you go to the lab to invent and create new things. This is our lab. Our goal in our lab is to develop kids and change their build and their makeup. And when you can do that, it has a tremendous impact throughout everything you do. It really makes a major difference. So, you know, I don't treat this place as a weight room. I treat it more as place where you can develop kids just like you would take a kid and develop them in math, develop them in science. We're going to develop them in physics. And get them to reach the highest potential we can reach. So, good? Yeah. What you're looking at, everybody's talking about our core values. And the reason they're called core values is because they've been around for an incredibly long period of time, which will tell you they work because they've withstood the test of time. You see a lot of things that come and go. Respect has been respect forever. Honor's been honor forever. Integrity's been integrity forever. These are things that you can really build on because they're going to last. I would look at it this way. If you're going to build a skyscraper, the first thing you have to do is, guys, do not pause right now. I would look at it this way. If you're going to build a skyscraper, what you would do is the first thing you do is you build a deep hole. The higher you're going to build the skyscraper, the deeper the hole has to be. That's what this is. The higher we're going to try to go, the better our foundation has to be, and those are our foundation. We try to build off of duty. Everybody understands they have a job to do, and people are counting on them to do it. And what we need to do every day is come in and do the very best you can. Do your job. If everybody does their job, we will be a lot better off. You don't need to worry about somebody else doing their job. You do yours the best you can. Integrity. There aren't any shortcuts. And people that get caught in shortcuts never end up where they want to be. There's one way to do this, and it's hard work. Time, effort, hard work. There's no magic potion. There's no magic pill. There's no... It's time, effort, hard work. And the other part of the integrity part of it is being honest. And you cannot build a team without trust. Kids have to trust each other, they have to believe in each other, and that goes hand in hand with integrity. Honor, if you're a person of honor, you're a person of your word. And what you say and what you do are very closely related. And if you're a person of honor, you're going to do what you said you're going to do. And you're going to stand for what you believe in. And you're going to defend what you believe in and who you believe in. And that's a huge part of what we're trying to do. A person of honor stands up for what they believe is right. Like I said, with respect, we want to treat people the way we feel they should be treated. The way you want to be treated. Respect's a huge one. It's one that people really struggle with. But it has a huge impact. Courage. The courage one, people always think, you'd be brave in a dangerous situation. That's not always the case. A lot of times the courage part of it is having the courage to come overcome your internal fears. The voice in your head that tells you, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. Well, someone's going to do it, and you want it to be you, and you got to be strong enough to overcome all your self-doubt and have the courage to step up and give it a go. The other part of courage is having the courage and the convictions to stand up for what you believe in. And a person that understands courage, we just had this discussion here. We had a kid in the hallway, a special needs kid in the hallway, and a couple of kids were kind of giving him just a little bit of a hard time. And one of our other kids came up to me afterwards and said, geez, I don't like that. I wish I wouldn't do that. And I said, yeah, you're right. And he said, I said, what are you going to do about it? Well, I don't know. You got to have enough courage to go up and just tell them, hey, you know what? That's not right. Knock it off. And you got to have the courage to do it. And they're not going to like it. They're not going to say, oh, geez, yeah, you're right. They're not going to necessarily like it. But if that's what you believe and that's what you think, and that's how you think it should be, you got to have the courage to say it. And we really spend a lot of time on that one. courage about what you believe in. Selfless service is another one we spend a lot of time on, especially nowadays, because in society right now you have so much me, MySpace, Twitter, Facebook, me. There's a lot of me. And selfless service is just the opposite of that. Selfless service is giving yourself up for somebody else. Ours don't have to be about me, it's about us and what we did and what we're going to do and how we are going to do it instead of me, my, and I. And we really try to work those words out of our kids' vocabulary as best we can. We want it to be a scenario of we and us. And you truly have a team when the most important thing to you is the person right next to you. Then you got something that people don't understand, and you got something that is pretty special. And that's a huge part of what we do, selfless service, giving yourself up for somebody else, knowing that they do the same for you, given the opportunity. What am I missing? Loyalty is just what it says it is. Be true to the people in this room. Be true to the people that you spend your time with and that you believe in. If you have a problem with somebody, go see them, don't tell somebody else. Work it out with that person and stay loyal to the people around you. Those 7 things, and I just had this discussion today also. When you work at it, I really believe in throughout the school day, you can find this stuff all the time. And nowadays in society, we've gotten really good at attacking symptoms instead of problems. And what you look at would be, a kid gets a detention and he can't be at practice on time. If you have 78 kids and 77 of them are at practice and one kid's sitting in detention, to me that's incredibly selfish. 77 kids can behave themselves and one person can't. And now we're going to hold up practice because I had to. It's more important for me to misbehave than it is to be at practice. That's putting yourself ahead of the team, is what it is. And you find this stuff throughout the day. If you have a kid walk out in the hallway and punch another kid, that was pretty easy to me. That's a lack of respect, is what it is. And I think a lot of times, if you look back, and nowadays, you take that person and you suspend them. Okay, well, you punch somebody, we'll suspend you for 3 days. The problem with that approach is, and you still have to punish them, there has to be something's going to happen. But the problem with that approach is, they come back 3 days later and they still don't believe they did anything wrong. And they're going to do it again. And if you sat down a person and say, you understand, if you respect that person, you wouldn't punch them. And you need to respect them. And just like you don't want anybody walking up and punching you. And if you can teach somebody respect, you can really reduce the chances of that happening again. Whereas just throwing them out for 3 days really doesn't do that. It just removes the person for 3 days, they come back and nothing's changed. So those are things that we really spent a lot of time on.
Thank you, Coach Larson.